Before the pyramids, before mummies, before the word pharaoh even existed, one man changed history forever. His name was King Narmer, and without him, the Egypt we know would never have existed. More than 5,000 years ago, Egypt wasn't one country. It was two enemies locked in a bitter rivalry. To the south was Upper Egypt, a land of narrow valleys, fierce warriors, and raw desert power. To the north lay Lower Egypt, a rich, fertile land, blessed by the Nile Delta, thriving with farms, trade, and wealth. They spoke the same language and worshipped similar gods, but they were ruled by competing kings. For generations, these two lands fought. Raids, battles, revenge killings. There was no united Egypt, only chaos. This was the world Narmer was born into. Narmer hailed from Upper Egypt, likely from a city named Dynasty. We know very little about his childhood, but history remembers him first as a warrior, then as a king. He grew up surrounded by constant conflict, watching his land bleed, and learning a hard lesson: peace would never be achieved through negotiation. Narmer came to believe in one simple, brutal truth: Egypt needed one ruler. When he ascended to the throne of Upper Egypt, he didn't hesitate. He began preparing for the one war he believed would end all wars. He organized his armies, standardized their weapons, and began his legendary march north, toward the heart of his rivals in the Delta. The War of Unification was brutal. It was a relentless campaign, fought village by village, city by city. Narmer crushed rival kings and local warlords with unstoppable force. Some saw the writing on the wall and surrendered to his authority. Others resisted and were wiped out completely. Let's be clear, this was not a peaceful unification. It was a conquest, a subjugation. And Narmer wanted the world for all time to remember exactly how he did it. One incredible artifact tells this story better than any written text: the Narmer palette, carved from a single piece of stone. It's one of the most important historical documents ever found. The palette's imagery is powerful and direct. It shows Narmer larger than life, holding an enemy captive by the hair, his mace raised, about to deliver a fatal blow. This wasn't just art. It was a political statement, a piece of ancient propaganda. It was a message of absolute power. On one side of the palette, Narmer wears the tall white crown of Upper Egypt. On the other side, he wears the distinct red crown of Lower Egypt. For the first time in history, one man wore both crowns, symbolizing his rule over the two lands. This powerful image became the eternal symbol of Egyptian kingship, a blueprint for every pharaoh who would follow for the next 3,000 years. But after his victory, Narmer did something truly revolutionary. He didn't just rule as a normal king, he reinvented what it meant to be a ruler. Narmer presented himself as a divine figure, chosen by the gods, personally protected by the falcon god Horus. He was no longer just a man. He was something more, someone who existed above ordinary mortals. This was the birth of the pharaoh system. From that moment forward, the king of Egypt wasn't just a political leader. He was the sacred bridge between the gods and the people. Every single pharaoh after him, from the builders of the Great Pyramids to Cleopatra herself, followed the model that Narmer created. Narmer is often identified with Menes, the legendary figure credited in later Egyptian histories as the founder of the first dynasty. Whether Narmer and Menes were the exact same person or two figures whose legends merged over time, the result was the same. A new era had begun. For the first time, Egypt had a centralized government, a unified system of laws, taxes, and a state-sponsored religion. All the administration that allowed a civilization to flourish was put into place. Egypt became the first true nation-state in the history of the world. Narmer's legacy was forged in blood and cemented by power. He ruled for years after the unification, maintaining his iron grip on the newly formed nation through a combination of military force, powerful symbolism, and a carefully constructed religious ideology. And when he died, the system he had created didn't collapse. It thrived. It expanded. The incredible monuments we marvel at today, the pyramids, the temples, the concept of god-kings, all of it traces its roots back to Narmer's ambition and his decision to unify Egypt by any means necessary. Egypt was not born from a peaceful agreement. It was born from power, discipline, and blood. So why does Narmer still matter today? He might not be as famous as Tutankhamun with his golden mask, or as legendary as Ramesses the Great with his monumental temples, but in many ways, Narmer is the most important pharaoh of all. Because before Narmer, there was no Egypt, and after him, there was nothing else like it on earth. He didn't just conquer a kingdom, he created a civilization that would inspire and fascinate humanity for millennia. If you enjoyed this deep dive into ancient history, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. The story of ancient Egypt has only just begun. Thanks for watching.